US Harper's BAZAAR March 2012. I'd been invited to New York by Glenda Bailey to redesign and sort of relaunch, in a way, US Harper's BAZAAR and all their digital social channels. And this was the output of that. I actually changed the shape of the magazine. We made it more square. I was executive creative director of Spring Studios in London at the time, and did this job or this consult through Spring. And we shot this cover of Gwyneth Paltrow with Terry Richardson in London in Spring Studios. I always loved this cover, although I think in the end, Elizabeth Hummer, the design director of the magazine, actually did this final select and layout from the shoot I did. But I've always loved this cover, the minimalism, and good for Glenda to go for something so minimal. So going through, Harper's BAZAAR was a very big American magazine, with a circulation of, I'm sure, over 1 million copies, multiple double-page Chanel ads. This is their spring fashion issue being in March and September being the big fashion issues. There's another picture from that London shoot. Giorgio Armani campaign. Which is not one of mine. I was to go and work for Armani in a few years after that. The big beauty ads at the front and the big brands. Strange filler left-hand page there. Welcome to the issue. Looking at it now, this feels like another world. 2012 was it? Anyway, that's a promotion page, which would have been. This is advertising, really designed to look like editorial. Here's the first page we've had designed by me. I very much wanted to use the Dido that had been designed for the magazine, and sort of bring it into the magazine in a very elegant way. The request from Glenda was very much to make type pages that were sort of decorative, and really going back to what I learned really back in the day at the Face with Neville, using typography as image. And, I'm working with the sub, so you can get this page to say news. But even though you've got now, early, we, so good magazines, you can work with the work, copy and art work really closely together. Another decorative piece of type. Bringing these kind of still life pages to life again. Glenda really wanted decorative type rather than just a kind of a sort of format. Here's a hideous promotions pages. I used to call the promotions department the sabotage department. I'm down here as consultant creative director at Spring. This was very much part of what I was trying to do. Really have sort of fun with it. I'm quite proud of this redesign I did of front of book, really. I mean, there were lots of details that went into it, like these reversed out. It's actually a bracket, like printed white, reversed out of the image, and lots of kind of little details that went into it, these little kind of pointers and dots and things. I remember I worked on this in London before I moved to New York, kind of beavering away at my computer, designing these individual elements that we could actually pull together. And I sort of think it works. I think this is a Gotham condensed, my ever-loving Garamond italic, which I've used on every job I've ever worked on. It's kind of my favourite font. One of those white brackets again. It's really fun kind of creating all these different sort of levels and tiers. So many ads. It's a pretty page, I think, using the brackets and using the bits and pieces. The style where fashion gets personal. I certainly didn't design that. That's probably an existing section or an advertising section. I just like it. You can see why these magazines made a lot of money back in the day. I would have guessed to advertise in Harper's Bazaar, $50,000 a page? Easily. More of the little details coming through. Must use that trick again, Marvin. What are we, about halfway through here? We still haven't hit the fashion editorial yet. So this is sticking because there's lots of fragrance inserts and things. Still going on the ads. Interiors feature. Don't remember designing that. And here we go. Here we actually hit the fashion well. I mean, this is how far into the magazine we are, but now we're hitting the sort of meat of the matter, if you will. Beautiful set of pictures of Deets in here by Dan Jackson. Really simple, classic layouts, I would say, using the Dida, which I was trying to bring back. I love using the weight of Dida, which has the hairline serifs, and then really close spacing them. Obviously, the O's are overset to optically when then they get to touch, which is kind of beautiful things you can do when the type is designed well as that. It's And I was really riffing off of my favorite era of Harper's Bazaar was the Marvin Israel designed one, and then of course the Fabien Baron designed one. But the Marvin Israel one, used a lot of space and it uses sort of in-page alignments. Sort of like, so you would hang going from a massive headline, which is a sort of 12-page feature, so it can take a big headline, and then small headlines, a little key line. I tend not to like key lines, but I do in this case, kind of like lining up. And then just kind of riffing off of that and doing it the other way. So using the white space, putting a little headline hanging off, but still holding that internal kind of graphic kind of alignment. And then riffing off it again, putting the headline over here and holding it that way. I think it gives much more entertainment, really, than this endless full bleed pictures. Photographers would tend to disagree. They just like everything full bleed. But I think these layouts kind of take you through the story in a more compelling way. This is obviously it's a Terry Richardson fashion story. Beautiful Lindsay Wixon, bright color, simple centered headline, very straightforward kind of layout. Totally nice. I tend to hang captions off of the center where I can. I hate them floating out here. But you find one. There was one right there, which I obviously don't like. That should have been there. I didn't do this layout. Pictures by Karl Lagerfeld, so they're very much kind of like what you would expect, the kind of thing he was doing. I like using small headlines. Again, I'm using that simple geometry. It's not even geometry. It's just sort of like graphism and lining things up on the page. And then back to sort of the more simple, more traditional thing. Decorative type. BAZAAR has this tradition of kind of running these copy pieces within fashion, and this is by Susie Menkes, of course, famous fashion journalist, and sort of mixing in kind of, there is a sea change in fashion for spring 2012. These sort of fashion commentary, and this treatment is a sort of a traditional Harper's Bazaar thing, but then I've kind of tried to give it a bit more of a layout. And here's the Gwyneth, the article that bounces off of the cover. Don't think this is brilliant, but it's kind of quite nice sometimes when you can just mirror an image with a layout in type. So if she's centered and it's centered, could have been a bit narrower, but here you are. We were visited on set by her husband at the time from Coldplay, whose name totally escapes me. Very bright accessories shoot. So this is more of the stuff I really like, which is again the very simple Dido, just those lovely fine serifs, kind of nicely, tightly spaced. Beautiful 4-color black and white light there with Naomi, shot by Karim Sadli. I'd done this other little device. There was a few sort of tricks and bits that I gave them, and one was this kind of drop caps on a photo, which gives you this kind of, you can use the type. It becomes an image in itself, and so I've used it again throughout the story, and you can kind of becomes a sort of a device that becomes another picture on the page, if you will. Richard Burbridge, BT story, incredible photographer, Richard. So there you have it. March 2012, Harper's Bazaar, designed by me. Most of it, some of it. Thank you.